What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the TB Toycast YouTube channel, and today we are diving back into the world of Batman the Animated Series, and it is Wave 3 once again as we complete Maxie Zeus here. It is Two-Face. Oh man, such a great villain. In fact, my introduction to Two-Face was through Batman the Animated Series. Of course, like a lot of you, I'm sure we saw reruns of Batman 66 when we were kids. Of course, and then, the Tim Burton Batman films, Batman and Batman Returns hit, probably right before these, in fact. 92, I think, is when the cartoon started. I think the first Batman was 89, and Batman Returns maybe 91, 92. And then the cartoon took over, and, the cartoon was the introduction to a lot of amazing characters. In fact, if you recently checked out What's on the Pegs, you saw that I came across a Batman the Animated Series Clayface at a Best Buy the other day. Yes, I did pick that up. Goes well. Of course, Two-Face here comes with a stick of dynamite and some Maxie Zeus accessories. We got the head, and it looks like the lightning bolt, which I didn't even notice is in there. Kind of blends into the background there. Of course, Two-Face got the classic animated series type deco. A lot of people not a fan of that. Doesn't bother me, though. Of course, got the trading card back there. Looks really good. Bunch of different hands. Does he have a coin? Is he flipping a coin? That might be a big miss there. If I can't tell. I don't know if any of the hands have that or not. That's a miss to me because those Two Faces deal. Even in the trading card there, he's flipping the coin. So I would love for a hand to kind of have it like attached with like a coin in mid flip because that's classic Two Face there. Looks here like we got the roster here because we're going to be unboxing all these on the channel. We have already unboxed Lightning Strike Batman, which is pretty much straight up from the Kenner line, which is really cool. Two-Face, obviously today, of course, Batgirl and Christmas with the Joker both coming up. That Joker figure, I saw it once, passed on it because, like I said, these are like $30, so they're a little bit on the expensive side. And so I passed, and I was like, oh, I'll get it later. Never saw it again. Had to order it on Target.com. So try not to make that mistake with Wave 4. We'll see what happens. But it looks like here you get the Maxie Zeus head, some hands, and the lightning bolt. So interestingly enough, I assume these are the Maxie Zeus extra hands. They do look a little bit different than the Two-Face hands. So that makes sense. Of course, we got two hands already for Maxie Zeus. We unboxed those with Lightning Strike Batman. 2 hands and 2 arms, so kind of the closed fist, which makes sense if you want him to be able to hold the lightning stick that he has there. So we'll have Maxie Zeus built upon the completion of all of these figures. But what do you guys think? $29.99 is a little bit of an expensive price tag, and it seems as though prices are not going to go down anytime soon. We're probably going to see a little bit of a price increase over the next several weeks, I would imagine, which is unfortunate. Not as much as it would have been, but it still is what it is. I know no one's excited about that. No one likes that. It's just, like I said, we don't want to talk tariffs and things that are upsetting to us as collectors, but you kind of can't hide from it either. I know on TV Toycast, me and Travis kind of talked about that. Like, oh, we're not going to talk about it, but then how do you not? Because it's everywhere. It's so in your face, and it's the biggest topic going. You almost don't have a choice. So hopefully it's something that we can, move beyond here in the next few weeks. Hopefully, we'll see. As long as things don't get worse, which I'm hoping that they don't. We're hoping they level out. As a good friend Kyle Peterson often says, follow the money, and I think he's pretty dead on with that one. You follow the money, and that tends to kind of, level things out. It's always all about the money. It tends to be everything in life, though. I'll open Two-Face up here. Of course, inside the box, nothing too special there. I'm going to get the trading card out. Like I said, I love the fact that these come with trading cards. But I will say it bothers me that there's no Maxie Zeus card. Same with Lockup and Condiment King, the previous Build-A-Figure releases, because I'm like, I would have loved to have had a trading card for all those, but you can't get those. And I think that's kind of disappointing. We can kind of look this over here. Real name Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent has led a deeply conflicted life, possessing a split personality that veers between two extremes, good and evil. Dent goes by the name of Two-Face. It is an apt description of his physical appearance. Scarred by acid into outwardly becoming the monster he once hid away from the world, Two-Face has become a tragic figure and one of Batman's most unpredictable and dangerous opponents. There you go, Two-Face, very cool. This is always going to be my version of Two-Face. I know anytime we see kind of a comic version, you tend to get like the orange and purple colors. In fact, McFarlane did a digital figure of Two-Face recently with that exact color scheme. And it looks great because it's like classic Two-Face. Oh my gosh, the twist ties. Worst things ever. But like I was saying, that's kind of the classic Two-Face we all remember. But with that, I don't know, something about this look, it brings it home to me, because this is the first version of Two-Face I remember. I do remember a McDonald's toy with a Two-Face car I had as a kid. I always thought that was cool. So yeah, cool stuff here. I've got all these parts out, trying to dispense all of them. So, I don't see any coin. I feel like that was a miss. That was a miss from McFarlane. Like, I would have loved to have seen one of his hands, one of his removable hands, have a coin, but he was in the process of flipping. I think that would have been a layup, I feel like, but, you know, it didn't happen, so what are you going to do? A lot of extra hands on this. Alright, I think we got everything out of the package here. Alright, let's take a look at Two-Face, the figure. That's definitely Harvey Dent. That is definitely Two-Face. Like I said, I know some people not a big fan of the cell shading they do there. I don't think it looks bad here. Could be maybe a little bit more predominant, like an off-white as opposed to like a gray color. But, you know, it is what it is. Feet on these guys are always a little small, and sometimes that makes standing up a little difficult. Hopefully this guy stands up all right. We've got a couple extra hands here. In fact, I'm going to switch this hand because I feel like this is the hand he would be flipping his coin with. Maybe not. Maybe it'd be the other one, but that's like, it's almost like that's what they were going for. So I don't know. What are you going to do? He's also got a set of dynamite. None of his hands really look like, I guess this hand might be able to hold it. Let's see. Yeah, maybe not. Not looking, well, actually he does hold it there. So let's switch those out. Because if you're going to have a big thing of dynamite, you're going to be able to hold it, of course, right? If I can get this stupid hand, and I'm literally bouncing it off the screen. Not my finest unboxing, but you know what? That's part of the deal. Sometimes it just doesn't go well. Oh my gosh. Alright, so let's see if he can. Now it's not going to hold. You got to be kidding me. Alright. Now hopefully he stands up. So far so good. Got the extra hands. I'll get those out of the way. We got a couple extra Maxie Zeus hands. Very big hands, in fact. Put those over to the side. So Maxie Zeus, we got his head here. Not too bad looking. Very interesting facial hair. I don't hate it. And we got his big lightning stick thing. So in fact, we could actually do this because we got this hand. So that will probably be the hand we go with. So we can hold this big monstrosity. Man, these fingers do not want to bend at all. I don't know. This is not becoming a favorite of mine already. Just having to try to pry his fingers open to hold stuff. I guess we'll do that. We'll leave it there. So we got some accessories there for Maxie Zeus. We're basically halfway on him. A little ways to go, and then we'll be able to get that unboxed. So hopefully I'll be able to unbox Batgirl and Christmas with the Joker in the next several weeks. And overall, not a bad Two-Face. I don't hate it at all. We're actually kind of getting through this line. I know Wave 4, I do have a couple. I have Phantasm, I have Bane. We need to get Hardak, which is the Robot Batman, and Poison Ivy, and then of course you can build Bruce Wayne. And then I believe Wave 5 will include Killer Croc, Ra's al Ghul. Who else? Another Batman and the Great Ghost, maybe. And then I think the Build-A-Figure is Jonah Hex, which is a unique one. I was not expecting that for a Build-A-Figure, but still cool. Still cool nonetheless. What do you guys think? Is the Batman the Animated Series line a line you're into, line you're not into? I could see it kind of going either way. They're cool figures. I always told myself if McFarlane did Batman the Animated Series, I would have to dive in because it was one of my all-time favorite cartoons, much like X-Men and Spider-Man. I grew up with this cartoon. And I'll be honest, if you watch it now, I think it still holds up. Is it the best cartoon ever? No, but it is a very, very well done cartoon. And I felt like they did a good job of showcasing all the villains, as well as really making, you kind of gave the gruffness of Batman that we hadn't really seen from like the 66 version, where he was a bit of a loner, And, you kind of got the idea of anyone who lives that life probably, lives a complicated existence. And Batman obviously has to do what he does. And that was the first time I feel like in that cartoon where we really got that sense of who Batman was, which I think is great. So, and I'm not going to be able to hold that dynamite anymore, am I? My goodness. I will say, for the price point, and maybe this isn't a fair assessment, but this is just my opinion. Take it for what you will. When I spend a lot of money on a figure, I do expect it to be perfect. Especially like a $30 action figure, and I see things that are kind of like a little off. I'm like, I don't know if I like that. Like, I feel like the hands, like, look at that. They don't go all the way in. Like the joint doesn't. And that's with both of them. So I don't like that. This foot's a little off, as you can see. He stands up, but you can tell it needs, like, it's a little bit off. This one is too, as a matter of fact. And I'm like, okay, like, $30. This is what this costs. $30. You do expect perfection, I think. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel about it. And I think that goes with almost any toy line when you're spending. He does stand up fine, so it's not a problem. But I'm just like, man, for that much money, you do expect it to be a near perfect figure. And maybe that's asking too much, but today's market, things are getting expensive, and when things are expensive, you do expect them to be good. But it is what it is sometimes. But that's Two-Face. What do you guys think? Is this a pass for you? I think it's a cool line. I'm going to continue with Batman the Animated Series, but I could also see people dipping out on these as the line gets a little bit more convoluted. So we'll see. But Two-Face to me is a must-buy. Poison Ivy may not be, Hardak may not be, but there's a few of these characters that are very key, and I think Two-Face falls into that category 100%. Of course, these are all exclusive to Target if you do plan to pick it up. But that's all I got. Thank you guys for checking out the TB Toycast YouTube channel. Check out some of my other unboxings. Most recently, I did, from the Star Wars line, I did Dengar, my first Star Wars unboxing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. I also recently did Stunning Steve Austin from the Mattel Elite line from Series 81. Flying Brian Pillman will be coming up very soon. And then I also did another Spawn figure, a retro Spawn. I did Shadowhawk. Those were all last week, so check those out. Every Saturday, check out what's on the pegs and literally see what I'm finding. Stuff like this, oftentimes when I visit my Targets. And also check out Tales of the Toy Box. New episodes once a month. We have 2 up right now, including WWF Hasbro and G.I. Joe Street Fighter. Episode 3 I'm actually working on now, so that should be coming up sometime in the early part of June. So look for that very, very soon. And, of course, check out the TB Toycast podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Me and Travis talk all things toys. We talk a different main event of a different specific series of figures and everything in between. So check that out as well. Thank you guys for checking out the TB Toycast YouTube channel. That's Two-Face. And we will see you in the toy aisle.
Yeah. One more time. It ain't over till I say it's over. So lock the cage up, cause this is a takeover. The wait's over. If this the final time we meet, then you'll be on your back on my feet. Then I'll tip the cage over as a hangover. I'm super fly, so I can splash off the top. And I can shut down the shot.